occasionally to clean and polish our automobiles. Even if your car is idle a good deal of the time, it's still good business to keep the finish clean, because dirt and road grime can actually damage the paint job if they're not removed. The easy way to remove them, of course, is with Johnson's Car New, the double-purpose polish that both cleans and polishes in one application. Car New is inexpensive. In fact, I can't think of any reason why that car of yours couldn't be cleaned and polished this very week with Johnson's Car New, spelled C-A-R-N-U. All right, Mr. Fadiman.
Our book tonight is rapidly climbing into the bestseller class, and deservedly so. It is Headquarters Budapest by Robert Parker, for several years before the war, Chief Associated Press correspondent in the Balkans. In this book, Parker takes us behind the scenes in the Balkan countries, introduces us to kings and princes, dictators and regents, high-living aristocrats, starving peasants, all adding up to a vivid and frightening picture. See if you don't agree, as we bring you now Robert Parker's provocative story of the Balkans, Headquarters Budapest.
You want the story of the Balkans? Well, I could boil it down to these 3 sentences. The First World War started in the Balkans. The Second World War started in the Balkans. The Third World War will start in the Balkans. I mean it. But let's get the story from the beginning. It's a story of rottenness, deceit, and corruption. Of people divided against themselves and distrustful of their neighbors. A story of hypocrisy, horrible oppression of the many by the few. It's a tragic story out of a land that has supplied the setting for many a comic opera. But you couldn't give the plot of this one away as a gift. They'd say it was too absurd. But wait. One man liked the Balkan story. He liked the plot.
The Balkans, that is where I will start, in the Balkans.
But, mein Führer, there are great dangers. There are treaties.
Treaties? They mean nothing in the Balkans. What happened when I took my stand on Czechoslovakia? Did not Romania, Hungary, Poland fall on them like wolves?
Ja, mein Führer.
Each one waits for the opportunity to cut the throat of the other. I will cut the throat of all.
Ja, mein Führer. Ja.
Yes, Adolf Hitler thought the Balkan story might even be worth a production. Look at the cast of principals.
The Hungarian regent, Admiral Nicholas Horthy.
Yeah. Admiral, it is my desire that Germany and Hungary be friends.
I hope we will be, Herr Hitler.
We have much in common.
Without doubt.
It is my feeling that the Hungarian people have a definite obligation to the Third Reich, and the sooner the Hungarian people realize that, the better for them.
What are you saying?
Germany will take no nonsense from Hungary. Hungary will do as Germany says. I am the Führer. I am the voice of Germany. You will remember that, Admiral Horthy.
Stop!
What?
Stop this infernal nonsense. Watch your words, Corporal.
Corporal?
I remind you that I am regent of a nation which has been independent for 1,000 years. I am an admiral. I will not be shouted at by an upstart corporal. Remember that.
I beg your pardon, Admiral.
That is better. Sit down now, Corporal, and we will talk sensibly.
You'd take the Admiral for a grand old man, wouldn't you? Not to be bluffed by a dictator, huh? Well, listen to a Hungarian newspaper editor.
No, Mr. Parker. Admiral Horthy has no objections to dictators as such. No. He objected to Hitler only because he considered him an upstart. And Hungarian aristocrats do not like upstarts. They do not like them any more than they like the 3 million landless and starving Hungarian peasants.
Thank you, sir. I tell you, Admiral Horthy of Hungary, or people like him, will help to start World War III in the Balkans. All right, who's next? Well, now, don't burst out laughing before the actor gets started. He isn't in costume, no. This is King Boris of Bulgaria. And if he looks funny, It's because he's so hard up for ready cash that he has to wear the hand-me-down sent to him by his father-in-law, Victor Emmanuel of Italy. Meet His Royal Highness, King Boris.
I am always glad to meet an American, Mr. Parker. America has always been our friend.
Your Majesty, what will Bulgaria do when war comes?
Oh, do you think there will be war?
Don't you, Your Majesty?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I can't believe there will be a real war. England and France are much too smart to get mixed up with Germany. They will help Hitler against communist Russia.
You don't fear Hitler, then?
No. Hitler has no designs against Bulgaria. Do you think?
I left the palace with a feeling that Boris was a nice little guy, but a sort of Balkan Casper milquetoast in second-hand clothes. I wondered what the peasants thought of him, because 6 million of Bulgaria's 6.5 million population are peasants, trying to live on an income of $60 a year.
Oh, but you cannot blame King Boris, Mr. Parker.
You, a Bulgarian peasant? You like him?
King Boris? Yes. Oh, it is true he is not cut out to be a ruler of a country, but he would be an excellent, say an excellent village postmaster.
Thank you very much.
Not at all.
Yes, an amiable incompetent like Boris of Bulgaria will help to start World War III in the Balkans. And then there was Prince Paul of Yugoslavia, regent for the boy King Peter, tall, dark, and handsome. Yes, Prince Paul looked more like an English clubman than a Balkan nobleman. He had a wonderfully simple solution for everything. Oh, yes, and he could also play the piano.
Mr. Parker, there is one way for Yugoslavia to keep out of war. We must be friendly with everybody.
I see. But, Your Excellency, what about your internal problems? You have 8 million Serbs, more than 4 million Croatians, 1.5 million Slovenes, all at each other's throats. How are you going to bring them together?
I will settle that problem.
How, Your Excellency?
I will find a way.
When, Your Excellency?
When I have time. That is my plan, Mr. Parker, to settle my country's internal problems when I have time. When I have done that, I will retire to the country. I will retire to the country, Mr. Parker, and play the piano.
You see, somebody like Prince Paul, who will never find the time to solve his country's problems, will do his part to start World War III in the Balkans. Horthy of Hungary, proud aristocrat, contemptuous of the common people. Boris of Bulgaria, willing perhaps but terribly weak. Prince Paul of Yugoslavia, who thought everything would work out all right in time. These were 3 of the Balkans' rulers when Adolf Hitler decided to give them a demonstration in the spring of 1939. And whom did Herr Hitler select as his first target? The most absurd character of the lot, King Carol of Romania. This sequence of the opera starts in Berlin.
My mind is made up. We strike in the east. When I give the verb, we invade Poland.
But, mein Führer, this means war with Britain and France.
I will smash Britain and France.
Mein Führer, to wage such a war, you need oil for the army, bread for our people.
I will get the oil. I will get the bread.
But where, mein Führer?
Where but Romania?
Mein Führer, King Carol has refused to sign our trade agreement.
He will sign. I have a plan.
A plan, mein Führer?
A plan. Get Schmidt. I will send him to Hungary. Get Woltat. I will send him to Romania. King Karl will do what is told.
Schmidt to Hungary, Wolfat to Romania. Ja, mein Führer, ja.
Dr. Woltat in Bucharest, Romania, calling Dr. Schmidt in Budapest, Hungary. Yeah, this is Schmidt. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Schmidt.
How are you?
Fine. Tell me, Schmidt, is everything proceeding according?
Oh, yeah. Everything is proceeding according.
Good.
Tell me, Walter, have you seen him?
Yeah.
How does he regard?
He does not like it. But do not worry. If things are proceeding according...
You mean Hungary? Do not worry, Walter. At this end, it is all taken care of.
That is all I wish to know, Schmidt. I'll see him again in the morning.
Good. Goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye, Schmidt.
King Carol is in his designing room, Dr. Voltat. He will see you there. King Carol rarely allows anything to interfere with his designing of army uniforms. Through this door.
Thank you.
Your Majesty, Dr. Voltat is here.
Give me some beer, Johann.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Dr. Voltat, I have considered the proposal you bring from Berlin. It is ridiculous. Germany asks 90% of our oil and wheat. That would eliminate our trade with other countries. Does Hitler take me for a fool? Who is Hitler? I am as big a man as he is. Bigger.
But, Your Majesty...
Go back to Berlin, Dr. Voltat. Tell them Carol says... More beer.
Yes, Your Majesty.
Tell them Carol says no.
Your Majesty, if I may say a word...
Where are my red pencils, Johann? Where are my red pencils?
On the left side, Your Majesty.
Just
yes.
one question, Your Majesty. What do you make of the agitation in Hungary?
Agitation? What agitation?
There's great talk, Your Majesty. Hungary is talking of seizing Transylvania from Romania.
They wouldn't dare.
Probably not, Your Majesty. Yet, these are troubled times. Times when every country can use a strong friend.
Like Germany, I suppose.
Well, yeah.
Romania does not fear Hungary. It is all bluff.
Your Majesty, an urgent message.
But this is of the greatest importance. Hungarian troops are marching toward the border.
You are sure?
There is no doubt of it, Your Majesty. They will be there in 6 hours.
Very well.
No bad news, I trust, Your Majesty.
You know what the news is. Hungary is sending troops to our border.
No!
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Majesty. How unfortunate that we were not able to come to an agreement. They would not do this if Romania and Germany had just signed an important trade treaty. Well, good day, Your Majesty.
Dr. Voltat.
Yes, Your Majesty.
How long will you give me to decide?
How long? How long will it take the troops to reach the border?
About 6 hours.
Splendid. Take your time, Your Majesty. Take 6 hours.
This is Clifton Fadiman speaking. Tonight, on the Johnson's Wax program, Words at War, we're bringing you a dramatization based on Robert Parker's story of the Balkans, Headquarters Budapest. Parker has told us that just as World War I and World War II started in the Balkans, so will World War III. To prove his point, he's already introduced us to 4 of the kind of rulers who are easy prey for the Hitlers. At the moment, one of these rulers, Carol of Romania, is letting the last 6 hours of a German ultimatum tick away while he designs new uniforms for the army. Now, Robert Parker continues with his story.
As King Carol's precious hours tick away, where do we go for the next act of this little drama? Back to the Royal Palace? No. To a press conference at the Foreign Office with journalists in striped pants and monocles? No. No, we go to a little joint up over a butcher shop in Bucharest. It's called the Kit Kat Club. The piano is playing an American tune that has found great favor over here. Appropriately enough, it is entitled, Don't Wake Me Up, Let Me Dream. As usual, the Kit Kat Club is crowded. On the surface, it looks like any other nightclub, not the hotbed of intrigue that it actually is. The bearded little man over there against the wall is a member of British intelligence. That dark-eyed doll in the ermine coat up at the bar is a French agent. The bartender works for some foreign government, probably 2 or 3.
What shall I order for you, Monsieur Parker?
A scotch, George.
Oui, monsieur. Right away.
That bent little guy over near the door, see him? He's one of Romania's wealthiest oil men, a great friend of King Carol's ever-loving Elena Lupescu. There's a gal for you. She's organized Romania into one big and ugly racket. She's shaken down the country for about $500 million. She takes a cut on all Army and Navy contracts. She sells public offices. She runs the Romanian Black Bourse, the most fabulous illegal money market in the world. She has a monopoly on the uniform business, which is some business in Romania, with King Carol always designing new ones.
George!
Oui, Doctor Woodard. Oui, monsieur.
Here, George.
Merci bien, monsieur.
Give us some good music, George. Tell them to play some Viennese waltzes.
Oui, Doctor Woodard. Oui, monsieur.
The fat man who just called for some Viennese waltzes. That is Dr. Helmuth Wohltat, special trade emissary of Adolf Hitler. As you know, he has a few hours to kill, and he is killing them in the Kit Kat Club.
Ah, here you are, Robert.
My Romanian assistant in the Associated Press Bureau. Hello, Alex. Sit down. Any news?
I learned that King Carol is locked up in his private chambers. Refuses to admit anyone. He's designing uniforms.
What? With only a few hours left before the Germans' ultimatum expires, he's designing uniforms? It looks like Hitler wins, eh, Alex?
I'm afraid so.
It will reduce Romania to complete dependency upon Germany.
Yes? Of course, we will be paid for the oil and for the wheat grown by our peasants who have never tasted bread. We'll be paid in typewriters, adding machines, cameras, and harmonicas.
Madame Lupescu could use an adding machine to total up her graft. And maybe there will be some nice colored pencils so Carol can design more uniforms.
And don't forget harmonicas.
Oh, yes, harmonic. Hey, what's this? Alex, look, one of Wohltat's men just came in.
Here's a message. See? He slipped him a note.
This may be it, Alex. This may be Carol's answer. Watch his face, Alex. We can tell what the answer is.
George! George, come here!
Oui, monsieur.
Champagne! Champagne for everybody!
Bien, monsieur.
Well, there's your answer. Wohltat orders champagne for everybody.
Carol has given in.
Yes, and that's just the beginning, Alex. Hitler would do this in all the other Balkan countries.
Yes, it is just the beginning.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we present the Kit Kat Club Review. And first on the program is that sensational young Romanian virtuoso, Grigore. Hello, Grigore. What are you going to play for us?
I would like to play the popular American song, Don't Wake Me Up, Let Me Dream.
Très bien. Ladies and gentlemen, Grigory and his harmonica.
A kingdom for a carload of harmonicas. Sounds silly, doesn't it? But it's true. Absolutely true. Well, his Romanian coup accomplished, Hitler was now ready to go after Poland. So let's visit Warsaw on the eve of war in 1939. Warsaw, the seat of a government that pretended to be a democracy, but whose leaders actually operated as tight and dirty a dictatorship as ever existed on the face of the earth. They worked every trick used by dictators since the beginning of time. Concentration camps, anti-Semitism, ballot box stuffing, and the gross mistreatment of minorities. And they alienated Russia, the only big power big enough to save Poland from Germany.
Mr. Parker, His Excellency will see you now.
Oh, thank you. Come along. We've a date with Foreign Minister Joseph Beck. That's Beck at the other end. He looks like an American ham actor made up as a lean and hungry Cassius. He's thin and pinch-faced, and he won't look you in the eye. He lives lavishly, drinks too much, and is a steady patron of the Warsaw nightclubs.
You have some questions, Mr. Parker?
Yes. The German press and radio are demanding that you give up the Polish corridor and Danzig as well. What do you propose to do about it?
We will not give them up.
Even if they threaten war?
We are not afraid of Germany, Mr. Parker. Poland is a great power. We have the finest army in the world. Germany will not dare to move against us.
They're not talking that way.
Talk is cheap. Hitler is bluffing. Confidentially, I can tell you that Germany's tanks are made of imitation metal. Did you know that? Imitation metal.
I've never heard that.
You would not hear such things. But you can be sure of this. Hitler knows perfectly well that the great Polish army would be in Berlin within 2 months
if he started anything with us.
Thank you, Mr. Beck.
Not at all. Just remember, Poland fears nothing. We have the finest army in the world.
I'll remember.
This way, Mr. Parker.
Thank you. Beck actually believed that about the Polish army. So did Smigley Ridge, the Inspector General of the Army. Such men as Beck and Smigley Ridge, who actually should have known better, will help start World War III in the Balkans. We'll dine at the Chateau de Sobansky. Watch out for the champagne bottles. Those drunken officers like to throw them against the wall when they're empty. Let's sit down here and talk to a Polish friend of mine. Hello, Jan.
Welcome, Robert. Sit down, sit down.
Yeah, rather noisy crowd, eh?
As usual, they are everywhere. The food is good here. It's worth putting up with the noise of the officers.
Well, Jan, I heard today that those men belong to the greatest army on earth.
Yes, that is what their leaders tell them.
Jan, how can Beck and the others be so blind?
They are blind in 1,000 ways.
Yes, for instance?
They think they can grind down the people indefinitely.
Yes, most of the people are very poor.
Poor? Robert, in Poland there are peasants so poor they split a match into 5 parts. They starve along on $48 a year.
The minorities must be even worse off.
Much worse off. The Ukrainians in the southeast cannot call their lives their own. The police have them terrified. In the cities, 3.5 million Jews are living in ghettos. Only 1 Jew in 3 is allowed to work. At least 1 million are on the verge of starvation.
Oh, yeah, that one's a little close, wasn't it? Hasn't anybody ever tried to solve the problem?
Oh, certainly. Once your friend, Mr. Joseph Beck, made a suggestion to the League of Nations.
What was it?
He suggested that the problem could be solved by merely throwing 3.5 million Jews out of Poland.
Gentlemen, a toast to the Polish army, the greatest army in the world!
Well, maybe the stupid dictatorial leaders of Poland did have the greatest army in the world. Maybe they turned back the Germans at the border that day in September of 1939. Or maybe I just believe what I read in the newspapers of the horrible tragedy that overtook the people of Poland when Hitler gave the signal that started the planes flying and the tanks rolling. The tanks that Joseph Beck firmly believed were made of imitation metal. Let's cut the comedy. I suppose, as they do in comic operas, our peasants should rush on stage now for the finale, in their colorful costumes, singing and laughing and cheering the principals. Sorry, our peasants don't feel up to it. They know that something's wrong. They can't put it into words, but I can tell you what the peasants would like to say. It boils down to something like this. You can't push these people around indefinitely. If you do, World War III, as I told you at the beginning, will start where the First and Second World War started, in the Balkans. Paste that in your hat and look at it every once in a while. The Third World War, more terrible than ever, will surely start in the Balkans unless we give the people of the Balkans a break. Give them a chance at education. Give them a chance to get enough to eat, enough to keep warm in wintertime. The Third World War will start in the Balkans unless the United States, Great Britain, and Russia agree on a common policy for Eastern Europe and stop playing power politics. It will start in the Balkans unless we refuse to deal with the old discarded regimes, people like Horthy, Beck, Carroll, and the rest, who have been exploiting their peoples just a little too much and a little too long. Unless we throw such comic opera leaders into the ash can. One word can describe what the people of the Balkans need and want. As an American, my word for it is democracy.
This is Clifton Fadiman. The Johnson's Wax program, Words at War, has brought you a dramatization based on Robert Parker's Headquarters Budapest, an accurate blueprint for World War III unless we do something drastic about it. I'll tell you about next week's program after a message from our sponsors.
Friends, the thrift which our forefathers had to practice is well expressed in this bit of verse. Use it up, wear it out, make it do, or do without. Sounds just like it was written for these times, doesn't it? It may seem prosaic, but being a thrifty housekeeper today really helps to win the war. So go right on taking extra good care of your toaster, refrigerator, vacuum cleaner, And go right on protecting your linoleum floor surfaces with Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat. Notice that I say protecting because that's the main reason for using Glow Coat on your floors. Linoleum actually lasts 6 to 10 times longer when it's protected regularly with Glow Coat. Of course, you save hours of work in the bargain because Glow Coat needs no rubbing or buffing. And you have the satisfaction of working in a cheerful kitchen because Glow Coat keeps the linoleum looking like new, sparkling clean, colors bright. Mr. Fadiman?
Next week on Words at War, the book is The Nazis Go Underground by Kurt Rice, a startling expose of the Nazis' carefully laid plans for winning the peace. Now, this is Clifton Fadiman inviting you to be with us again next week. And until then, goodbye.
Tonight's dramatization was written by Gerald Holland and featured Stotts Cotsworth as Robert Parker. Music was composed and conducted by Morris Mimorsky. The production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next week, the makers of Johnson's Wax bring you a dramatization of The Nazis Go Underground by Kurt Rice on Words at War. Jack Costello speaking. This is the National Broadcasting Company. The Johnson Wax Program, Words at War with Clifton Fadiman. The makers of Johnson's Wax for Home and Industry, in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime, proudly presents Words at War, dramatizations of the most representative books to come out of this great world conflict. And once again tonight, we have with us one of America's foremost radio personalities, a man who knows good books, a well-known author himself, Mr. Clifton Fadiman. Mr. Fadiman.
Tonight's headlines tell you that we're winning the war, that soon the Nazi machine will crumble and disintegrate forever. But will it? Is this the end of the war or just the beginning of the next? Tonight's program will attempt to answer that question. We'll tell you something about book and author as soon as Jack Costello finishes a brief message from our sponsors.
When your friends or neighbors drop in for a visit, isn't it strange how often they drift back to the kitchen? And isn't it nice when they can compliment you on how clean and sparkling everything looks? You know, it's a great step in that direction when your linoleum floors are protected with Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat. Then they're always presentable, always looking their best. Glow Coat not only gives linoleum a lovely polish, but it keeps the colors fresh and new-looking, and it saves you many hours of work. Because Glow Coat needs no rubbing or buffing. You simply apply and let dry, and Glow Coat does the rest. It's well to realize also that the regular use of Johnson's self-polishing Glow Coat makes linoleum last 6 to 10 times longer. That's important today when we need to make our things last. All right, Mr. Fadiman?
Tonight's Words at War program is based on Kurt Rice's book, The Nazis Go Underground. We'll introduce this authentic expose by what's known in radio as a teaser scene. Listen. This is taking place all over Germany today. Listen and see what you make of it.
Well, how do you like your new job with the hospital, Hans?
Fine, Fritz. They will certainly never look for us here, huh?
Everything satisfactory with your new job at the fire department, Herr Kasper?
Oh, yeah. Everything satisfactory, Herr Schmidt. Say, I hear you're working at the Red Cross now, Albert.
Yeah, the Red Cross is a good place to be, too.
Sounds innocent, doesn't it? Simply people changing their jobs, eh? But it's not quite as innocent as it sounds. What's it all about? Well, that's what we're here to tell you tonight. Our story proper begins in Berlin in May of 1943, in the library of one of Germany's leading industrialists. The industrialist? Herr Ludwig Gerhardt. The girl, his daughter and private secretary, Liesl Gerhardt. The ticker? A bearer of bad news.
They have captured Novorossiysk. The Russians are 10 miles northeast of the city. Do you know what it means, Liesel?
Nevertheless, we will win, Papa. The Führer said in his speech last week. What's the matter, Papa? What does it say?
Bizerte has fallen. Our troops have surrendered in Africa. The Africa Corps surrendered.
But when? How did it happen? We thought the campaign was going on schedule in Africa. That we were winning. The Führer said...
Never mind what the Führer said. I must get to General Beck.
What did you say?
Never mind, Liesel.
All you do is grumble. The Führer said...
I said never mind, Liesel. Now get those memos out right away.
Don't forget you must be ready to leave in 10 minutes.
Why?
Because you have a meeting with Herr Krupp and Baron von Schnitzler at Chateau Hugel for 2 o'clock. I've already ordered the car.
Oh, yes, of course. Slipped my mind completely. Oh, I'm so tired. Those air raids are enough to drive a man insane. All right, get me... Yes? What do you want, Gerda?
What's wrong, Mama?
This telegram came just now from the War Department. I thought you might want to see it.
What is it?
Read it.
Hans is dead. Killed on the Russian front. Like a common peasant. Fools. Imbeciles. Why don't they stop the slaughter? Why do they continue fighting when they know there's no more hope?
Don't you know why, Ludwig? Ask yourself that question. Who killed your son, Hans? Who killed your son, Kurt? Who?
I have no time for your idle questions, woman. I have no time.
No, of course not. You have only time to start the war. You have only the time to make plans to rule the world. You have no time to look within yourself and see the monster you've created, the monster you've bred.
Quiet! Not another word. Do you hear?
I think the way both of you are carrying on is absolutely disgusting. And contrary to all National Socialist principles. You should be proud of Hans. He died serving the Führer on the field of honor. There is no greater reward for the use of Germany.
To think, Liesel, that you were once my daughter, and that you, Ludwig, used to be a man I respected for his integrity.
Let's leave the Gerhardt family now and join Herr Ludwig Gerhardt in his important meeting. This meeting took place in the middle of May, 1943, only last year, at Chateau Hugel. Among those present were Krupp, head of the famous Krupp Munitions Works, Baron George von Schnitzler, chairman of the board of directors of IG Farben, and fat Herr Otto Pietsch, the owner of the biggest machine factory in Germany. What happened? Well, listen, you'll be interested. Herr Krupp is speaking.
Gentlemen, for all purposes, the war may be considered as lost on all fronts. Therefore, we must take measures to preserve the Nazi movement, so that in future...
Did you say preserve the Nazi movement, Herr von Krupp?
Correct, Herr Gerhardt.
But now that the war is lost, I can see no point in preserving the Nazi movement.
May I remind you, Gerhard, that all the industrialists of Germany, including yourself, have done very well under the Nazi Party.
Perhaps you forget, Gerhard, that it was Hitler who liberated us from the threat of the workers' union.
That's right. Saying nothing, of course, of the taxes, which are lower for us than in England and America.
Very true. I am not arguing that point. But now we see that Nazism has failed. What reason is there to preserve that?
You've overlooked something, Gerd. It's always been the destiny of the German industrialists to rule the world. This destiny must be fulfilled. If not in this war, then in the next.
The next war?
Naturally. We must plan for that at once.
But do you realize what you are saying, Baron von Schnitzler? Another war will result in...
Another war will result in Germany's ruling the world. We weren't sufficiently prepared for this one, but we shall be for the next.
I agree, Baron.
Well, I don't. I am opposed to it. Utterly and unequivocally opposed. The idea is insane, preposterous.
That's enough, Gerd. You forget yourself. You will do as we say.
I think Gerhard understands, Baron. He is overwrought, naturally, because of the death of his son. Very well, gentlemen, I propose we go to Himmler at once with this idea. Agreed?
Agreed. Absolutely, I'm for it.
How about you, Gerhard?
I am opposed.
But you will follow all the same.
Yes. I will follow.
That was on May 10th, 1943. 6 days later, at Gestapo headquarters, Heinrich Himmler called in his henchmen.
Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler. Sit down, Heißmeier, Kaltenbrunner.
Thank you,
I will be with you in just a moment.
Thank you, Herr.
Herr Gerhard and I are having a most interesting conversation. Now, Herr Gerhard, you are absolutely certain you did not express any treasonable statements against the Führer and the party at the meeting at Chateau Hügel on May the 10th?
I'm sure if you will ask Herr von Krupp, Baron von Schnitzler...
That will not be necessary. It so happens, Herr Gerhard, that we had dictaphones at that meeting. Dictaphones to record everything you said. Well, what have you to say now?
Why, it's nothing at all. You must believe me. I didn't mean a thing. I was upset. You see, my son...
Enough. You are lucky, Herr Gerhard. You are lucky you are making robot planes. But I warn you, watch your step. Do you hear that, Herr Ludwig Gerhard? Watch your step.
Yes, Herr Himmler.
That's all. You may go now.
Yes, Herr Himmler. Heil Hitler.
Heil Hitler. Why didn't you shoot him, Herr Himmler? Time enough for that, Kaltenbrunner. We may need him in the future. Now, fellow party members, I shall be brief and to the point. The news from the front is bad. It is possible that Germany will be defeated on the military front. It is even possible that Germany will have to capitulate. But never must the National Socialist Party capitulate. That is what we have to work for from now on.
You're absolutely correct, Herr Himmler. The National Socialist Party must go on.
Yes. The plan we have worked out is simple and direct. A new front is to be opened in Germany, and this new front will be the underground. Underground? Yes, Kaltenbrunner, underground. But well organized because we have time to prepare.
Excuse me, Herr Himmler, but I don't quite follow. How will the party members be able to work after we are defeated?
It's quite obvious, Kaltenbrunner, if you will only stop and think. What will happen when the Allied military government takes over? There are a great number of irreplaceable government organizations which they must of necessity let alone. For example, the numerous health departments. If there is any interference with them, the whole country, and this includes invading troops, might be swept by an epidemic.
Wunderbar, Herr Himmler. How many party members can we assign under this plan?
Oh, I'm sure we can hire away between 200,000 and 300,000 men in plants, city administrations, and so forth. Party members will be assigned to fire departments and utilities. They will sit in tax collectors' offices, in the police force, in the railways, mails, and even in the Red Cross.
But who will the Allies deal with when Germany capitulates?
It will take steps to kick certain high officials and businessmen out of the party, like Fritz Thyssen and Schacht. They will be sent to Sweden, Switzerland, the United States. Once these men appear to be no longer in the good graces of the party, why, naturally, they will be the ones who will become acceptable to the Allied military government.
When will this work of going underground begin?
At once. When the Allies march on Berlin, we shall be ready for them.
And now that we've met our principal players, let's go on and see how the master plan was put into operation. Let's see how the Gestapo organized the Nazi underground.
Heil Hitler! Members of the German Women's Bund, these are the tasks which we must undertake for the coming National Socialist Underground. 1. Special training of stenographers, typists, clerks, in short of all female personnel likely to be used by the Allied military government. 2. The training of young girls to disseminate our propaganda to foreign soldiers. 3. The training of women...
From Konstantin Kiel to General von Brauchitsch. Subject, discharge of men from army. The following men, list attached, are to be discharged from the Reichswehr at once and are to be shifted to the maintenance of roads. This is to take place at once.
Members of the Ordensburg Sonthofen, today we shall take up our propaganda work in the United States. Miller?
Yes, Herr Schmidt.
Miller, whom would you attempt to contact if you were in the United States?
I would try to reach Fritz Kuhn.
A Dummkopf! I'll make arrangements for you to be shipped to the Russian front. Schultz.
Yes, Herr Schmidt?
Why is this answer so completely idiotic?
Because Kuhn is too much identified with our movement.
Very well. Whom would you pick, Schultz?
I would contact the real Americans who were friendly to our beliefs before the war.
Good. But how would you know them?
Well, I would look at their records.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
And I would pick those who are anti-Semitic.
Fine, fine.
And those who have fostered all kind of racial hatred.
Excellent. Any more?
Yes, and the members of those many organizations which have been advocating a negotiated peace.
Very good, Schultz. We'll arrange for your passage to Argentina, and from there you will go to the United States. You, Schultz, will be our underground representative in America.
This is Clifton Fadiman, bringing you Words at War in behalf of the makers of Johnson's Wax. Tonight, Kurt Ries's book, The Nazis Go Underground. We've seen how the Nazi underground has been organized, with trusted Nazis being installed in key spots which the Allies would not be likely to disturb, places like health departments and so forth. Now, how will the German industrialists figure in this master plan? Let's go back to Herr Gerhardt and his family. In June of 1944, Herr Gerhardt was undergoing a typical experience in Germany, an air raid. He was getting a taste of his own medicine.
Oh, those blasted air raids. I can't stand them. Day and night, air raids, air raids, air raids.
They're coming closer, Ludwig. The British and the Americans coming closer.
Oh, shut up, woman. If I could only get out. To Switzerland. Sweden. Hello.
Hello? Herr Gerhard?
Yes, who is this?
This Himmler.
Oh, Herr Himmler. Heil Hitler. I mean, how do you do? I didn't expect.
I have some good news for you, Herr Gerhard. Very good news.
You have?
How would you like to go to Spain? Away from all the air raids?
Spain? Yes, it has come. A chance to escape. They are sending us to Spain. I would like it very much, Herr Himmler. Very much.
Good. I knew you would. Will you be able to leave?
Oh, at once, right away, anytime you say.
Good. Of course, Herr Gerhard, we can trust you there. You won't run away from us.
Run away? Of course not. Why should I want to run away? Naturally, you can trust me, Herr Himmler.
Naturally. Incidentally, we will give you all the necessary travel expenses, and you will be taken care of quite handsomely.
Travel expenses? But I'm perfectly willing to pay my own.
Oh, that won't be necessary. You see, you will be leaving your family and your funds behind.
Oh.
But you don't have to worry. We will take good care of them for you. You see, we trust you, and you can trust us. Good night, Ludwig.
Good night. I must see General Beck at once. So you see, General, that is their plan.
What makes you think, Herr Gerhard, that such a thing would be bad? That the generals are not planning the same thing?
The same thing?
Do you think we will accept defeat? Crawl before the Allies? Forget our plans for conquest of the world?
But nevertheless, General, the Nazi Party is not working with you, but against you. You weren't consulted about this underground plan. Why then should you want to save Hitler's skin? Your own skin, yes. But why his? He's the one who is responsible for our defeat. He's the one who has countermanded your orders, brushed aside your advice, your experience. You said so yourself, General Beck.
So, now you propose that I organize a revolt among the generals.
Oh, I didn't say revolt, General, but...
But what?
If you can get him out of the way.
I see. And you? What is your function in this, Herr Gerhardt? You will play safe while we do the dirty work, is that it?
No, of course not. I shall, of course, back you up to the fullest extent. Once he's out of the way, I shall be in favor of your taking control. I have friends who feel the same way, who will lend all necessary assistance. Do I make myself clear, General Beck?
Oh, quite.
Then you agree?
I will give your proposal my utmost consideration, Herr Gerhardt.
We don't know whether General Beck ever carried out the plan suggested by Herr Ludwig Gerhardt, but we do know this.
Achtung! By the order of the Fuhrer, we interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement. Today, an attempt was made to assassinate the Fuhrer, but he escaped injury except for minor scratches and bruises. I repeat, the Fuhrer is unharmed. In the meanwhile, all those connected with the attempted assassination have been arrested. Among them, General Beck, who is no longer among the living.
Gerda, where are you? Gerda!
Yes, Ludwig. What are you shouting about?
Gerda, the Gestapo. They are coming. I'll be arrested. I must get away. You will have to help me, Gerda. Help me get away. We'll both go away. We'll fly to Switzerland. You must get to Liesel. Tell her to have the plane ready. To meet us.
I, Ludwig?
Yes, you don't stand there. There's no time. Take the car. It isn't safe to use the telephone.
No, Ludwig. I will not. I will not help you.
What?
You have created a monster, and now he has come to crush you. All you wanted was money, power. As long as you got it through them, you were satisfied. You were satisfied no matter what the consequences, no matter how many people you killed, including your own flesh and blood.
Stop it. Stop it, Gerda.
Now you will take the medicine. I've been waiting for that for a long time.
They are here. They are here, Gerda.
Open the door, Ludwig. Let them in. They are your friends.
But, Gerda, don't you want to help me?
Open the door, Ludwig.
All right, Gerda. I shall never forget this. Never. Herr Himmler. Heil Hitler.
Well, aren't you going to invite us in, Herr Gerhardt?
Why, of course. Come in, gentlemen.
Thank you. Good day, Frau Gerhardt. Now, what is this I hear about you not liking us anymore, Ludwig?
I? Not like you? Why, that's ridiculous, Herr Himmler. I never said anything of that kind. Never.
Of course not. That's probably just a rumor.
Yes, naturally.
Now imagine, some rumor monger said you were actually connected with the attempted assassination of our Führer. Imagine accusing you.
I? That's really a joke. Who would ever accuse me after all I have done for the party?
Oh, indeed. Except, perhaps, von Schnitzler and General Beck.
Beck?
The comedy is over, Herr Gerhardt. And since you are such an old friend of the party, I have taken it upon myself to...
No! Please, Herr Himmler! Please! Gerda, please tell them I had nothing to...
That, Frau Gerhardt, is what we do with traitors.
Your turn will come too, Himmler. The day is coming when you and your party will be crushed forever. Do you hear them? The Allied planes are here again. Thousands of planes to blast you out. And they will kill you all.
Oh, no, Frau Gerhardt. They will not kill us all because we are too many. We are all over the world, in Argentina, England, Sweden, Turkey, Spain, Italy, the United States. And in Germany, we are underground already. We have burrowed so deep that their bombs will never reach us.
Well, how do you like your new job at the hospital, Hans?
Fine, Fritz. They will certainly never look for us here, huh?
Everything satisfactory at the fire department, Herr Kasper?
Yeah. 90% party members, Herr Schmidt.
Say, I hear you're working at the Red Cross now, Albert.
Yeah, the Red Cross is a good place to be when the AMG gets here.
Yes, we have burrowed so deep that their bombs will never reach us. Let them come. This is only the beginning. This is but a prelude to the war we shall win. World War III.
Now, what can we do about it? I can hear the answer from thousands of lips throughout the United States. Stamp out Hitlerism, crush the Nazi Party once and for all, and thereby make another war impossible. But how? There's but one answer. Nazism is not only a German specialty. Nazism, fascism, is as international as murder, as greed for power, as injustice, as madness. Let's remember this. When a man isn't hungry, he doesn't need a Hitler. When a man has a roof over his head, he won't listen to Hitler. When a man can live in peace and make a decent living, he won't turn to Hitler. As Kurt Ries says, make this a better world, and you'll stamp out Hitlerism and all other forms of fascism.
After I present a message on behalf of our sponsors, Mr. Fadiman will return to tell us about next week's Words at War program. You know, folks, I'm sure that no matter how good your car's engine and battery and tires are, the car only looks as good as its paint job. You may not realize that dirt and road grime and insects can do considerable damage to the finish if you don't remove them. Cleaning and polishing a car really does a lot more than keep up appearances. It saves the finish itself. When that cleaning and polishing can be done so easily with Johnson's Carnew, then I know I'm doing you a favor to suggest that you buy a package of Carnew this week and give your car a protective beauty treatment. Carnew saves work because it does two jobs at once, both cleans and polishes in one easy application. You apply this liquid cleaner, let it dry, wipe it off. It leaves the finish satin smooth, sparkling like new, easier to keep clean. Remember the name, Johnson's Carnew. Spelled C-A-R-N-U. And now, Mr. Fadiman, what about next week's program?
Well, next week we hope to bring you one of the outstanding war novels of the season, Neville Shute's Pastoral. I say we hope to bring it to you. The reason being that so far we haven't been able to locate the author to get the necessary permission. You see, Neville Shute is an RAF flyer, and an RAF flyer on active duty is a pretty hard man to track down. But we hope to catch up with him before next Tuesday and arrange to bring you his novel, Pastoral. If not, we'll delay it for a week or so and bring you another fine book instead. Now, this is Clifton Fadiman inviting you to be with us again next week. And until then, goodbye.
Tonight's dramatization was written by Ben Kagan and featured Theo Getz. Music was composed and conducted by Morris Momorsky, and the production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next week, the Johnson Wax program again presents Words at War. Jack Costello speaking. This is the National Broadcasting Company. The Johnson Wax program, Words at War with Clifton Fadiman. The makers of Johnson's Wax for home and industry, in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime, proudly present one of the most widely discussed radio programs in America, Words at War, bringing you dramatizations of the most representative books to come out of this great world conflict. And here with us again tonight is one of America's keenest judges of good books, Clifton Fadiman. Mr. Fadiman.
Good evening. The liberation of France is now being accomplished, a liberation which began 4 years ago at the moment of her collapse. How did the French people work and fight for their freedom during these 4 long years? Tonight's dramatization will give you one of the answers. Meanwhile, Jack Costello brings you a brief message from the makers of Johnson's Wax.
Like most of us, when you do drive your car nowadays, you try to share it with your friends and neighbors. When they ride with you, do you have to apologize for the looks of it? Does it have a hangdog, gloomy look that makes you a little bit ashamed? Well, don't feel bad if it does. Just get yourself a package of Johnson's Car New, that easy-to-use polish that both cleans and polishes in one application. You've really got a thrill ahead of you if you've never used Car New. All that dirt and grime will disappear like magic, leaving a satin-smooth finish that resists soiling and is easy to keep clean. Car New is a liquid polish. You rub it on, let it dry to a powder, wipe it off. It's not only wise to take care of the finish of your car, it's so much more satisfaction driving a car that's clean and sparkling. And it's easy to keep your car that way with Johnson's Car New, spelled C-A-R-N-U. Mr. Fadiman?
Tonight we present a radio adaptation of Leon Feuchtwanger's stirring book, Simone. The setting of our story is a courtroom in the little town of Saint-Martin, France. The time, June 1940, on the eve of the total defeat of France by Germany. The occasion, the trial of 15-year-old Simone Blanchard, accused of perpetrating a crime against the people of France. The characters, loyal citizens of France and fascist-minded collaborationists. As our scene unfolds, we leave it to you to decide which is which.
Mademoiselle Simone Blanchard. Would the prisoner step into the witness box, please? Thank you. Simone Blanchard, you are accused of willfully and maliciously performing an outrageous act of mischief. Are you guilty or not guilty?
No.
Mademoiselle, you do not understand my question. I asked
Bailiff.
if you... Monsieur?
Bailiff, go away. Simone Blanchard, do you know me?
Yes, of course. You are the Marquis de Saint-Brisson, a friend of my uncle.
Do you trust me?
No.
It is perhaps wiser if the courtroom does not laugh. How old are you, Simone?
I am 15 years old, monsieur.
15, and already you do not trust. You are ill-advised, mademoiselle.
I am frightened, monsieur.
Simone, everyone in this courtroom is your friend. You must realize that it is within our power to alleviate your punishment, if we see fit. But we want the truth. Your last chance, Simone. What is the truth?
If I tell you the truth, could I do it in my own way?
Of course.
And will nobody stop me until I get done?
Simone, the German military government now in command in Saint-Martin has graciously permitted us to handle this in our own way. But their patience is not endless, nor is mine. Understand?
Yes, monsieur. It happened because... Well, you see, it's all mixed up. There are lots of people in it. My father and Joan of Arc and Maurice. He's the only alive one in it except me. Oh, I hope he's still alive. He's got to be. He helped me so much.
Unfortunately, mademoiselle, according to our laws, you may still be heard in open court. However, all we want are the facts. Begin at the beginning and tell us the facts.
All right, I'll try. My mother died when I was born, and my father died 10 years ago when I was 5 years old. He was known as a liberal, and there are people who don't like liberals. After he was killed, I lived with my uncle, Prosper Blanchard, and Madame, my grandmother, who really isn't my grandmother, but my step-grandmother, which is maybe why she doesn't like me. She didn't like my father, either. Anyway, I worked at my uncle's garage, and that's how Maurice fits in. My uncle had lots of drivers to drive his cars for him, and Maurice was one of them. As I said, it really began that day the refugees came through our town, and I had to sell them my uncle's gasoline.
You have gasoline, mademoiselle?
Oh, yes, monsieur, plenty.
You will sell it?
But of course that's what it's for.
Oh, thank God. You see, Marie, that's what I told you. I knew everything would be all right. Excuse me, mademoiselle, but my wife is so worried. The Germans come so fast, and there are so many cars stalled without gasoline. So many of our people will be caught by the Nazis, and my wife was so worried. But now everything will be all right. How much may I buy? Would 5 gallons be all right?
Certainly, monsieur.
Oh, mademoiselle, you're so good. We've prayed so hard, my Marie and me. Oh, thank you, mademoiselle, thank you.
Please don't. The gasoline will cost you 1,000 francs.
1,000? You're joking.
No, monsieur.
But no one in France has that much money. No Frenchman.
I'm sorry.
But please, you can't do this. I haven't much money, but I can pay what is fair. The fair price is 100 francs. Won't you sell it to me for 200 francs?
I can't. I'm not allowed to. My uncle owns this garage, and he won't allow me to. Please don't ask me.
Please don't ask you. Am I being unfair? Am I insensitive? My daughter was killed, my home wrecked, and I'm trying to save my wife from the Nazis. Must I apologize for making you uncomfortable? Is that it? Oh, I don't understand this world, Marie. I don't know how to live in it anymore. I don't know what to do, where to go. No, Marie. You mustn't cry. It'll be all right. I'll take care of you. I always have. We have a little gasoline left. Don't cry, Marie. We'll go as far as we can, and then something good will happen. You wait. Don't cry, Marie. Please, Marie, my wife. Don't cry.
Well, I see the honorable niece is out doing her best for God, country, and Uncle Prosper.
Did you hear that poor old man, Maurice?
I heard. It will delight your uncle.
No, it won't. He'll hate it. My uncle's a good man, but he's got to remain in business, doesn't he?
Why?
Because France needs him. France needs businessmen like Uncle Prosper.
France? What France? The France of the steel mills, munition makers? Or the France of the workers, shoppers, storekeepers? What is France, anyway? Is it the lady on the postage stamp, the lady with the cap?
Everybody knows what France is. It's... Mm-hmm.
You're blind, Simone. You're a blind, stupid little girl.
I am not.
You've let your uncle talk you stupid. Pretending to be a patriot. At the same time...
He is a patriot.
And why doesn't he give his gasoline to the refugees? Why doesn't he give his cars to them?
He will, I know he will.
When?
When he's ready.
You bet he will, to the Germans.
That's not true.
Oh, come to life, Simone. You've forgotten what the world is like. You've read so much about Joan of Arc.
What's wrong with that? Her world was a real world.
You know what happened if she were alive today?
What?
Nothing. They'd laugh at her.
They did then, too.
Oh, what's the use?
Why do you hate me so, Maurice?
Hate you? What's that got to do with it?
You do hate me, don't you?
Yes, I do. Your France is dying. The fascists here, the Cagoulards, the Flandins and Lavals and Benets have delivered us over to their friends, the Germans. It's our own steel monopoly, Simone. And our own neighbors who put possessions first. They've won the war against France.
But what have I?
You and your dreams about Joan of Arc. You're not your father's daughter. Pierre Blanchard was a man. But your uncle is a fatuous, grasping old... Right this very moment, he's plotting with the Marquis de Saint-Brisson, that good and true fascist.
to turn over his garage and trucks to the Germans in the morning.
To the Germans in the morning? Oh, but they couldn't.
The Germans will have this town by morning. If you don't know it, then you're the only one who doesn't.
Oh,
Don't be frightened. They wouldn't hurt a nice little collaborationist like you. Nazis will be very fond of your grandmother, your uncle, and you.
Oh, no, Maurice, you've got it all wrong. We're not collaborationists. We're not.
I'm glad to hear it.
Please, Maurice, listen to me. Uncle Prosper wouldn't let the Germans get his cars. He'll wreck them first. He will. He'll do it tonight. I know he will. He'll do it tonight. Maurice, he'll do it tonight.
Not tonight, Simone. No dinner tonight. Just wine.
But Uncle Prosper...
Simone, do not argue. My son is tired.
Yes, Grandmother.
And clear the table.
Yes, sir. Grandmother.
What is it?
May I ask Uncle Prosper just one question?
No.
But...
No!
Oh, come now, Mother. Let the child talk. What is it, Simone?
Is it true the Germans will be here tomorrow?
What?
Where did you hear such nonsense?
I heard it in town. Is it true, Uncle Prosper? Is it true?
Why, that's the most ridiculous...
Uncle?
Yes. Yes, it's true.
Prosper!
It's all right, Mother. Now, don't get excited. I've fixed everything. It's all arranged.
You mean?
I told you it's all arranged. Just leave it to me. I wish you'd both stop bothering me. Can't a man enjoy a little peace in his
Uncle
own...
Prosper.
What is it now?
The garage and the cars. You'll want to destroy them. I'll help you. Oh, I'll help you, Uncle Prosper. And we'd
What
better...
nonsense are you talking?
Marie said you wouldn't do it. But I knew you would. We can do it right now. Grandmother can stay here, and if anybody comes, she can pretend we're asleep.
Simone, you're out of your head. Don't listen to her, my son. Don't listen.
Be quiet, Mother. Simone, are you afraid that I'm not a patriot? Is that it?
Oh, no, I knew you were. I knew it all along. And that's why I want to help you wreck your car so the Germans won't get them. I'm a patriot, too. But I think we'd better hurry, Uncle Prosper. I think we'd better...
I think you'd better listen to me. I have no intentions of destroying my cars, or my trucks, or my garage. Is that clear?
The Germans...
The Germans will be all over France in a few days. Nothing can stop them. France is doomed. Why should I destroy my business, my whole life, when France is doomed anyway, huh? Why should I?
Uncle Prosper, if my father were alive, you would not talk like this.
Your father. Your blood is as bad as his was. Who told him to go to the Congo and stir up the Negroes against us? We warned him, but he was deaf to our warnings. Now he's dead and gone and good riddance. And as for you, you're an ungrateful, impertinent...
Mother! Simone, how old are you? 15? Well, take my word for it. Things look a lot different at 15 than they do at 50.
When you know you're right, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Simone, your grandmother asked you to clear the table, didn't she? Well, then clear it. You hear me? Clear it.
Yes, Uncle Prosper. That was when I knew I had to do it. I remember just before my father went off to be killed in the Congo. He told me that if I ever had to do something that was right and was afraid to repeat to myself a certain sentence. You can remember a lot from 5 years old if you work at it. The sentence was this: when, if not now, who else, if not you? I kept saying it over and over. When, if not now, who else, if not you? You see, I just couldn't get away from it. Then I went to my room and read some about Joan of Arc, because she had had problems too, if you remember. No, wait a minute. First, I stole Uncle Prosper's garage key from his bureau drawer, and then I read about Joan. And then I did it. I climbed out of the bedroom window and ran down the street. I ran and ran till it felt like I'd spent my whole life running. And I ran like somebody was chasing me, except nobody was. At last I got to the garage and locked the door and went in. And it was so dark, and my heart was crashing around in my breast, and I was so scared I didn't think or feel. I just said, when, if not now, who, if not you, over and over again, so I wouldn't think or feel. I just kept saying, when, if not now, who, if not you, when, if not now, who, if not you.
Fire! God in heaven, there's a fire!
That's what I did. I set fire to Uncle Prosper's garage, and it burnt to the ground. All of it. Cars, trucks, garage. And the Germans couldn't use any of it. That's the crime I did against France.
This is Clifton Fadiman speaking. Tonight, on the Johnson's Wax program, Words at War, we're bringing you a dramatization based on Leon Feuchtwanger's story of Simone. So far, the 15-year-old Simone has testified to the fact that she sold black market gasoline at black market prices at her uncle's behest. She told the court of her belief that this same uncle would destroy his garage rather than have it fall into the hands of the Germans. And then she told of her discovery that he had no intention of doing so. And now we continue her story.
Simone! Simone! Where are you?
What is it?
Come to your window. Hurry up. It's me, Maurice.
Oh, Maurice, I knew you'd come. I knew it. Don't go away, please. Don't go away.
I'm right here. I never saw such a dumbbell. You've gotten yourself into a fine mess, my little friend.
But how did you know I did it?
Nobody but you would have done such a childish job.
Does everybody think I did it?
Of course. Who else if not you?
You?
I would have done it better. The fire's still smoldering, and already everybody in town knows it was Pierre Blanchard's daughter.
What about his brother? Mightn't they think it was Uncle Prosper?
Uncle Prosper?
That's vulgar.
Listen, Simone, you're in bad trouble. Your uncle's still poking around the ashes, but he'll be back soon, and then... Oh, you stupid girl. Why were you so foolish?
Was I wrong, Maurice?
No, not wrong, but the danger's all out of proportion to the advantage.
Danger, you mean from the Germans?
Well, yes, from them, too, but I was thinking of our own fascists.
Oh, don't worry about them. You and Uncle Prosper can take care of me.
Oh, will this girl never learn? Listen, Simone, don't you understand that the Marquis and your uncle will never forgive you for what you've done to them? They let the Germans into this country. And you go and set a fire right over their heads. Patriotism, that's mutiny. You can't do things like that, Simone.
I did it.
Badly.
All right, but I did it. You don't still hate me, do you?
I could skin you alive.
That's all right.
Mother? What's that?
I don't know.
Simone, listen to me. I wanted to tell you slowly, but there isn't time. I'm leaving for Algiers.
You're leaving when?
Now.
Oh, no.
I've got to. At first, things were all mixed up, but that's all changed now. Now the biggest idiot in France knows who the enemies are. Petain, the Nazis, and all the French fascists on one side. Liberty, equality, fraternity, all the anti-fascists of the world on the other. I've got to go, Simone.
Maurice.
And I want you to come with me.
You what?
I can't leave you here. You're in danger, Simone. You must come with me.
Oh, Maurice, I can't.
Why not?
It's Uncle Prosper.
Tell me quickly, why not?
You're wrong about him, Maurice. He's been good to me. He's good, Maurice, really good.
He'll betray you,
You're
Simone.
wrong. He would never hurt me, never. Uncle Prosper will stand by me, and I've got to be here to be stood by, don't you see?
You make me sick.
Maurice.
What?
Thank you for asking me.
I'll go to the devil. Simone, please.
I can't.
Simone!
Maurice.
Come with me.
No, you've got to go. Hurry. He mustn't find you here.
Simone! Are you there?
Maurice, say something to me. Say something. Tell me I'm right. Make me strong,
You're
Maurice.
right, of course you're right, but you've got to come with me.
Something else. Say something else.
I love you.
Maurice.
Wherever I go, whatever I do. I don't know what'll happen, Simone. This is the time for brave words, but I haven't any. Maybe I'll never come back to you. I don't know. All I can say is that if we work long enough and fight hard enough, and if there are enough of us, maybe. But it's you and me for always, Simone. Remember that.
Oh, yes, Maurice.
I gotta go now.
I know.
Goodbye, my dear. You're the biggest little fool in France. But I love you. Remember that, Simone.
I'll remember. I'll remember, Maurice. Just a minute, Uncle Prosper. I'm coming. Uncle Prosper.
You traitor.
I've told you again and again why I did it, Uncle Prosper. I've told you.
And I've told you. You've got to sign this declaration.
I can't. It isn't the truth.
I'm sorry, Monsieur le Marquis. It's hopeless. I can't do a thing with her.
One moment, Blanchard. Simone, let me read you this declaration again. I, Simone Blanchard, do confess voluntarily and without compulsion that on the 17th day of June, 1940, I set fire to the buildings of the transfer establishment Prosper Blanchard and Company. I did it because I was deeply offended and regarded as unjust the criticism of Madame Blanchard that I did not satisfactorily perform the duties imposed upon me in my home. I was angry, and I saw no other means of venting my resentment, and I believed that through this act I would grievously annoy and injure Madame Blanchard, my grandmother. Now, Simone.
I've told you and told you I can't sign it. Nobody would believe it anyway.
That's precisely the point. Nobody would believe it, except the Germans.
What do you mean?
Everyone in this town loves and honors you for your act. But why suffer for something when your uncle and I can save you? All the Germans want to know is, was it a political act of violence against them? If they assure themselves it was a political act, then everybody in Saint-Martin will suffer. However, if we can convince them that it wasn't, then you go free, and the blight over all of us is lifted.
I don't know what to do. I'm so tired and...
Sign it, Simone.
What?
Simone, I want to save you. I saw your father go the same way, and I couldn't help him. Now you, his daughter, have done something equally brave and wonderful, and I can't help you. Please, Simone, let me help you, please.
Uncle Prosper, if I sign this declaration, will the Germans give you back your business?
Well,
Answer, Blanchard, answer.
Yes, they will.
And you, Monsieur le Marquis? If I sign, you will be in favor again, too?
That is correct. Doesn't that count for something with you, Simone? Your uncle has spent a lifetime building his business. All of your fellow citizens trust you to save them from German reprisals. Don't let them down, my child. And above all, remember, if you sign this, nothing will happen to you. Absolutely nothing.
I won't be punished?
Certainly not. The whole matter will be forgotten completely. Come, child, sign it.
Shall I, Uncle Prosper? Shall I sign it? Uncle Prosper, look at me. Shall I sign it?
Yes.
Pen, monsieur.
Here it is.
There. I've signed. I've put my name to it. But... Oh, I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have done it. May I have it back? Please, may I have it back?
No.
But...
No.
I don't know what to do. I'm tired. And I'm so tired. Could I be excused now?
One moment, please. Simone Blanchard. As deputy prefect of the occupied town of Saint-Martin, France, I arrest you on behalf of the state of Germany.
And that is the whole truth as I know it, so help me God.
Mademoiselle Blanchard, from beginning to end, your story is one monstrous lie.
It is not. It's true. You know it's true, Monsieur le Marquis. You know it. And my people here know it, too. What I did was right.
Silence!
I set that fire to help save France from the Germans, and I'd do it again. And now, I'm awfully tired. So, would you mind giving me the death sentence quick?
Why, Simone, you're not going to be put to death. That's preposterous.
It is?
Why, certainly, we don't put little girls to death. We're going to take care of you.
You mean everything's all right?
Of course. Your act was the wicked deed of revenge of a depraved child. And so, Simone, we're going to put you in a home for bad girls. The Granite House.
Oh, no!
For the rest of your natural life. Did you think we were stupid, Simone? Did you think we would ennoble your act by making a martyr of you? Is that what you thought? Foolish, foolish child. No, Simone, a home for bad girls is the place for you. It's not a nice place, but then, my dear, you're not a nice little girl. But that's all right. We'll take care of you. Good care.
All right. Even that I can stand. Marie said you're all fascists, and he was right. And you fascists may be smarter than I am. But there are people you're not smarter than. People like my father and Joan of Arc and Maurice. And maybe some in this very room who are afraid now. But they're not always going to be. And then you'd better watch out.
Get her out of here. Go on, get her out of here.
That's what France is, Monsieur le Marquis. It's the feeling people like me have against people like you. And longer than you or your kind, France will live. It will live. France will live.
This is Clifton Fadiman. The Johnson's Wax program, Words at War, has brought you a dramatization based on Leon Feuchtwanger's novel Simone, the story of a young French patriot. Today, Simone and all those like her have at last won the freedom for which they have fought so long. However, the physical liberation of France, may we remind ourselves in all compassion, is only one step in a greater story, a story which we might call the regeneration of France. Oh, it's all very well for us to feel a glow of generosity at the thought that today we're rushing tons of food to a liberated Paris. But the story does not end there. In the months and years that lie ahead, as this great nation refines herself in her fourth republic, France will need our sympathy, our spiritual help, and sometimes even our patience. Let's see that she gets them. Now, after a brief message by Jack Costello, I'll be back.
I'd like to read you a letter we received from a lady last week, and it really doesn't need any comment. Here it is. I'm really ashamed to admit that although I never missed a broadcast with Fibber McGee and Molly, I did not use your product, Glow Coat. Had been using something else and it didn't satisfy, so I decided I'd try Glow Coat, if only for the privilege I enjoyed over my radio. I purchased a jar of Glow Coat this week, and after using it, I stood and admired my linoleum floors like a child with a new toy. It was so simple, no work at all, and it dries so quickly and evenly. I was amazed at the small amount used after giving my floors a second coat. I'll never use any other. Thanks for Johnson's Glow Coat. All week I've been saying to myself, why didn't I get Glow Coat sooner? Okay, Mr. Fadiman, what's the book for next week?
Next week, Words at War presents a dramatization of Willard Waller's book, The Veteran Comes Back. The time's getting close when G.I. Joe will come home now. Are we on the home front, ready to face him, to help him become readjusted, to help him regain his foothold in society? These are the questions that will be answered on next week's Words at War. The Veteran Comes Back.
Tonight's dramatization was written by Edith Summer and featured Marguerite Morrissey as Simone. Music was composed and conducted by Morris Momorsky. The production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next week, the makers of Johnson's Wax brings you a dramatization of The Veteran Comes Back by Willard Waller on Words at War. Jack Costello speaking. This is the National Broadcasting Company.